The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 168 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I've made some small modifications to the podcast setup in here. Really, it doesn't look any different, but I know it's different. And
right.
I'm hoping to move some stuff around still. I got some plans, but I don't know. It's tough because, this isn't a permanent podcasting space. This is like a workspace too sometimes. And so I want to have it set up to where it's best for the podcast, but we only do the podcast once a week. So to have a mixer board somewhere that's right in the way kind of doesn't make sense. So
well, you guys are still rocking that transition thing.
Yeah, the transition thing.
COVID extended your transition to much longer than you probably wanted.
Yeah, COVID made it really hard to find a house and actually carry out the purchase because everything is going instantly and there's nothing available to begin with. So yeah, we're still stuck in the old apartment here, and I'm out in the living room as I've been. That's why you can hear the air conditioner loudly in the background. I apologize for that. And every once in a while, the dog barks and the family runs through the room, and who knows what happens here. So, but yeah, it's working. I mean, we're here.
Yeah,
so
that's all right.
I've got high-speed internet. That's all I need to survive. So
yeah, we're doing it. We're making it. It's better than when we were winging it in the kitchen of my house. So,
right.
Which that was about a year or so ago.
Yeah, it's almost
already
about a year ago now. I was living in a camper at the time. That was great.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
Lovely.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I had to go outside to shower. That was awesome.
Glad you're not doing that today.
Oh,
jeez.
Thank God. Yeah, I'm much happier here in the apartment than I was in the camper. Although it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. So
yeah, I'd live in a camper.
Yeah,
for a little while.
Yeah, it was my parents' camper, and it's a little starting to. I mean, it's a nice camper, but it's been through a lot, and it has some issues, and I don't know. It wasn't home, that's for sure. So
yeah.
It's tough when you're trying to work like a normal job and everything, and that was before COVID. So God, I can't imagine being stuck in there during COVID though.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, through it all, we've made it work, man.
Yeah, you know who else made it work, James?
Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick.
Well, NASCAR did for one because they held 6 races this weekend at Dover, and not a single one had a rain delay.
Yeah, and
you know why that was?
Go ahead.
Because Todd wasn't there.
That's our great running joke. Yeah, it'll rain in Gateway this weekend.
Yeah, Gateway's going to rain out, guys, just so you know, because Todd will be there working for NASCAR.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, too, so, Eric, the NASCAR schedule is caught up.
Yeah.
It caught up after an 8-week layoff with the pandemic.
Yep.
NASCAR's back on track.
We are back on track. We are back on the original schedule. I mean, within reason. Obviously, trucks and Xfinity is different. We don't have practice and qualifying, but hey,
the Cup Series made it to Daytona.
Yep.
Yeah.
We didn't think this was going to happen, James.
Well, there was a stretch there, maybe week 4 of the pandemic, where it was looking like, we're done. We're not going to make it. I don't know how we're going to do this. Or maybe we thought we'd have like a 20 race season or something weird like that. But no,
right.
no, we're going to get all the races in and an all-star race. It's going to happen regardless.
So I have a question for you, and you're saying that, but okay, so things are going to probably ramp up here as we get into the fall. We racing in November with our schedule. So do we make it? Are we confident now? Are we good? You think?
Yeah, we're going to make it now.
I think so too.
At this point, the schedule is going to finish. Whether, I still think we're going to have a playoff driver come in.
Yeah,
there's going to be something weird's going to happen like that. But other than that, we're going to push past it. I mean, we're on track. It's happening, man. These teams have done it, and NASCAR's done it with fans or without fans. It's happening. We're there.
Yep. Obviously, we're gonna get rid of some of the northern tracks, and that will probably help us out a little bit too, as far as stuff that's going on. And I mean, politics does play a role into what's shut down and what's not, and what's allowed and what's not. And so
Yep.
We get to the more of the red states, it's going to be a little bit easier to get this stuff into. So.
Yeah, I know. We'll probably have fans at Texas, and I
Yeah.
NASCAR's got to hope that they'll have fans at Phoenix as well. So, in some capacity, but
Yeah, you would
we'll
think
see.
so.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I heard today that Miami, because college football, whether you're in Big Ten country or not, college football looks like it's happening,
Right.
and they're going to let fans into the Miami stadium, which it seems like it's a test run for their national championship game because they want to have fans for that thing when it goes off in January. So
I mean, for outdoor stuff. So okay, I'm gonna reference Door Bumper Clear a bunch this week again because I happen to listen to the show today.
they've got some good stuff going on over there.
They really do. It's been a really good show. I like the addition of Freddie Kraft to their crew too. Not that anything was wrong with TJ and Brett, but Freddie adds a lot to it too. But anyway, Brett brought up, in his politically correct manner, these races without fans and stuff. And if anybody knows me, I'm very much, and we're not going to get into politics or any of that stuff, but I'm very much pro-mask, pro-social distancing. Let's do what we can to get to bypass this and get it over with. But man, I just don't see how you can take a track that seats 80,000 people and you can't put 20,000 in there.
Yeah,
there's room to spread out. We're going to, and Brett brought this up. They're going to these tracks. People are eating at restaurants in these towns, indoors, and they're not crammed together, but they're a lot closer together than they'll be in the stands at a NASCAR race in the outdoors. He mentioned that. Where'd my train of thought go?
Well, I was just gonna say,
Victory Lane. He was talking about Victory Lane. So the teams aren't allowed in Victory Lane with the driver to celebrate after the race. Guess what? All those team members fly on the same damn plane to get to the track.
I know it's all optics.
It is, but it's just silly.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, and I applaud NASCAR for being extra cautious. They don't need extra eyes on them. I mean, I thought the same thing with I'm watching hockey and they're in the bubble and everybody's quarantined. They're all separated off from everybody else, but they're still having to wear masks when they're out and about and not playing the game. And it's like, all right, you guys are essentially quarantined. What do you need the masks for at this point? But yeah, it's optics.
I think when you're bringing fans into these places, though, it's such a small amount of people. Is it worth that? Is the risk that it's even worth it at that point when you're
No, I think maybe.
I think, Eric, we've got something it is what it is for this whole thing. We've got some sports doing the bubbles, and look at baseball; it's a complete mess. And the NFL seems to have something working here, but they're not traveling yet, so we'll see how that ends up.
If there's ever an organization that does things terribly, it's the NFL. So be prepared; they'll screw it up. I mean,
they will. They'll figure it out. Well, you're the one who told me that you made a good point to me a couple of weeks ago. Like NASCAR will be the only sport that's going to complete its entire schedule. Like even the NFL, they're not doing preseason games, and who knows where they're going to end up with this whole thing. Right. And baseball, they've got some teams that have played 20 games and some teams that have played like 10. They're all over the place. So, NASCAR is going to be the only major sport that completes its entire schedule. As it looks a little different, but the full slate of races will be completed by the time it's all said and done. So, kudos, man.
It's crazy.
Got her in. Yep, it is crazy.
And on that note, we had a ton of racing this weekend. We're going to focus mostly on the Cup side of things as we typically do. It was the twin Dryden 311s at Daytona. Wow.
Dover. We're heading to Daytona, yeah.
Dover International Speedway. I always screw that up. 2 days of racing with the 750 aero package and low downforce. Lots of sliding around on the old Monster Mile.
Yep.
Monster Mile showing its age a little bit, coming up a little bit on Sunday, having to do some repairs Saturday after the race. Nice little red flag on Sunday as a result of it.
I didn't put that in the notes, but that's a good point. We haven't seen the track come up at a place in a while. No. So that
know what this means? It's time for Dale Jr. to get his wish, James.
Put the black top down.
Put the asphalt down, man.
Yep.
Get rid of that freaking concrete.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would. So Denny Hamlin gets the win on day number 1. Was able to hold off Martin Truex Jr., get win number 6. Come even with Kevin Harvick for a day.
For one day.
day.
The two guys are just dominating the doubles.
Yeah.
One wins or one sweeps, and the other one wins, and it's just ridiculous.
Yep. Denny Hamlin gets the win. Let's see, led only 115 laps out of 311, so not a great day, but pretty decent.
Yeah, not bad. He did fine. Yeah, he got the C+.
Yeah.
C+.
Martin Truex Jr. had a good car as well. Certainly was there in the running.
Yeah, we can talk about Martin Truex, I guess, if you want to do that right now. What a run. We talked about him last week. I did not know that he had a record, and then it was a 1 in 10 million chance that you could get that many third places in a row.
Right.
But Eric, he did it again.
Mm-hmm.
He got 2 second place finishes.
Yep.
So he's on a run. What a run. Is he moving in for you to the third spot now?
I don't know, man. This thing's so tough. So I was talking with James a bit before. I do a thing on the radio every once in a while down in Toledo, and get to talk about NASCAR. And I was asked about Harvick especially, and both Harvick and Hamlin have had these seasons that are just magnificent. And of course, both of them are going to a track in Phoenix at the end of the playoffs that they're both good at. So realistically, both of them have a really good shot at it. But with this system, you just don't know. And yes, you've got these two guys that are, they're in. There's no way that they're not making it all the way to the
with the playoff
Final
points
Four.
that they've got. Yeah, Harvick clinched. We'll talk about this just a tick. But Harvick clinched the regular season championship, so he's got even more bonus points coming his way.
They're going to be racing in Phoenix no matter what. Even if they didn't have the points, both of them are going to get a win in the playoffs. A couple wins, they're going to lock themselves into that final race. So, but the other two spots are going to be up in the air, and it all is going to depend on who's going to win and where. And you say, is Martin Truex creeping into the picture? Yeah, he is on points, but if he has to get in on wins, he's not winning. He's won races, but he's not winning the races like those two.
If you're only finishing second, and you're finishing second to those two guys,
Right.
how much farther do you have to go up? He's
Right.
He's right there.
I think.
It's incredible.
That was a long way of answering your question, but honestly, yeah. Truex is right now. I think it's kind of these three guys, and then that third spot kind of is whoever else is there.
Yeah,
but
Keselowski or
Truex
somebody,
is really overshadowed by the fact that these two have been so dominant.
Yeah, and he's been quiet with the Cole Pern transition away from the team, and James Small taking over. And I think they've finally found their stride, though. They look, outside of winning these races, they look like the 19 team of old. They're
having a hell of a season if it wasn't for Denny Hamlin and
exactly.
Harvick.
I know. Yeah, a lot of guys are having good seasons, but when you got these astronomical numbers, these two outliers, what are you supposed to do?
It's just crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So Kurt Busch, as we move on to the discussion of this, Kurt Busch falls out, finishes 40th with a wreck, made a whopping 6 laps in this one. That's a bummer.
Yep, early and out. Yeah, but he's pretty solid with his standing, so he's got really nothing to worry about. But I guess he is locked into the playoffs, so he's good. But yeah, that sucks when you wreck it out. And,
especially that early.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Reed Sorensen finishes 39th in one of the Spire cars, or the Spire car. Made 83 laps for him, and he was out because of handling. I've never ever noticed that on the status.
Yeah, we got 2 of them too. BJ McLeod is a handling as well. Yeah, I've seen that. I have seen that once in a while. But handling. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
That's when you call starting park. Yes.
Is this the one that Quinn Hoff spun out and saved it, or was that the other one?
No, that was race 2, but we can talk about it.
We might as well talk about both these races because they're pretty much.
Let's just do it that way because they all blend together when you're doing these doubles. We have learned so far.
Well, before we jump into Quinn Hoff, then let's talk. We already hinted at it. Kevin Harvick gets the win on Sunday. 700th Cup race for Ford. It's his 7th win of the season, and he clinches the regular season title as a result of it.
And he only led 223 laps and swept all 3 stages.
And he ties Kyle Busch as 9th on the all-time
ties
list?
Kyle Busch on 9th on the all-time wins list. Yeah, we had a good messaging on that one. How about how mad KFB is going to be
I'm sure
somebody
ticked right off.
Yeah, KFB's going to end up losing a spot in the all-times wins list. That's kind of interesting. That's probably not happened in a while.
Especially when KFB finishes third on Saturday, very promising going into Sunday, and gets caught up in the early wreck on Sunday.
Yeah.
Thanks to our buddy Joey Logano, who likes to stick his bumper where it doesn't belong lately.
Yeah, Joey's ruffling some people up.
Joey's becoming the new Ricky Stenhouse, and ironically enough, he wrecked Ricky Stenhouse.
yeah. That helped out my my picks team, so thanks Joey. So that was good.
Yeah.
But it's weird to see a champion. I don't know. He's having a weird year. Joey's having a weird year.
He's just kind of in the way, and he's kind of like good, but not good enough.
He looked like the favorite before the pandemic struck, and then he has just not done anything since. Yeah. He's having a weird year. So it's a weird year for him. I don't know what to make of Joey. He's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the way.
I have no idea what possibly is dinging over my headset right now. Did you hear that too?
I did not hear any dinging.
Oh, good. Maybe it didn't record then. Maybe I'm just imagining it.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, maybe I turned up my volume instead of down. I don't know. I don't know where it came from. All right. Anyway, back to. Let's see. Where were we at when I wanted to talk? Oh, we were talking about Quinn Hoff.
Yes.
So Quinn Hoff has a miraculous save, I guess.
Yeah, so this is in race 2, and I heard this. I don't know how many other people heard this, but he spins out and causes a caution, and the crew asks him, is it damaged or how bad is it or something, and he goes, I saved it. It's the funniest. I mean, it really made me laugh out loud. Like, you caused the caution, but you saved it, bud. God, poor Quinn Hoff. He's just a punchline at this point. I feel bad for that dude.
I hear you. Also, this race, I didn't see it, but apparently Ryan Preece tried to imitate Quinn Hoff coming to pit road.
That was the first race.
Was it the first one?
That was the race 1, yeah.
Took Jimmy Johnson out. That's probably why I didn't see it, because I think I was dozing off during race 1.
I should have put that. Yeah, I should have put that in the notes, because that was a pucker up moment. I even said out loud, I was like, whoa, because it just almost scared me, because I was watching that live, and yeah, he came down from, I think, the third lane to pit, and it was a mess. And Jimmy, good driving or luck, I don't know what you want to call it, but man, that could have been a mess, because Jimmy was coming full head of steam.
So does this show that we were too hard on Quinn Hoff?
No, we're not too hard on Quinn Hoff. Sorry.
I will say one thing.
Like,
I think
it's hard to pit at Dover.
I want to say it was 2002 that, and TJ Majors brought this up on Door Bumper Clear today, that I believe it was Harvick did something like this at Fontana, and Hook Jr., Dale Jr.,
that's when he hit the wall so hard.
Hellacious wreck in the wall coming off turn 4.
Yeah, a lot of people know about that, right? That was a bad one.
Yeah, so, I mean, this stuff happens. I don't know. Preece hasn't really impressed me a whole lot either, and it sounds like he might be looking for something different at the end of the season from some of the stuff I've heard. So, who knows? But and that might open up a spot for Corey LaJoie maybe in that
possibly
that 37 car.
Preece definitely gambled on himself with that ride, and it paid off for him. But yeah, I'm surprised at how they're not doing any better than they are. I mean, Stenhouse is doing decent. I thought Preece would do a little bit better.
Let's see. William Byron. I didn't hear the whole deal with William Byron and Chad. I heard about it, but I must have slept through half of this race. I probably did.
Yeah, they were just getting snippy with each other. William wasn't happy with the way the car was handling, and it was just a lot of that. It was just very, very snappy. But I tell you what, whatever issues they had on Saturday, they were much better on Sunday. They ran a really good race on Sunday and salvaged their place on the bubble here.
Yeah, 4th place finish on the day.
Yeah, and you know what? I think he almost gave Jimmy a little bit too much respect on Sunday.
Oh, I agree with you.
He could have come after him.
It wasn't just Jimmy either. There were a couple times when I saw him racing too nice.
Yeah, I thought he should. I mean, I know it's your teammate, and Jimmy's probably going to be really mad, but I thought you got to go get him. You can't. Playoffs are on the line. You got to do what you can for your team, and I thought he laid up a little bit and gave Jimmy just too much space. But
and we had this talk a little bit in our off podcast discussion. Byron Byron at this point needs to prove himself. I understand he's young and they're planning on developing him, but at some point he's going to have to turn the stuff around and show that he's what he's supposed to be. Let's put it this way: if he wasn't at Hendrick, he wouldn't still be getting chances. I mean, nothing to doubt his talent, but you stick him in a JGR car, he gets a year to prove himself, and he's gone.
Yeah, and I think with high expectations comes, lots of added pressure there.
Right.
And, Chase Elliott did this too, where he couldn't quite figure it out, and Hendrick's not in the same spot that they used to be. But
right.
Chase has figured it out, and Williams walking that line right now. He's on that tightrope of it's time to start doing something.
Right.
Maybe not even winning races.
Against Alex Bowman, but when Alex Bowman's getting wins and you're not contending. That's the issue. I mean,
we haven't seen him really challenging. I'd like to see him do a couple of,
We know Jimmy Johnson has struggled to contend, but Jimmy Johnson's a 7-time champion. He's proven himself.
He's in the twilight of his career.
He doesn't need to prove anything at this point. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
Byron does have to prove himself at some point.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and again, not doubting his talent. The kid's talented. He showed a ton of talent in the lower series, and this is just showing how difficult it is in the big series.
Yes.
But you got guys come in again. We're not comparing apples to apples because they're different teams and the different points in their levels of success. But you got Cole Custer, who came in and won a race this year in probably the toughest rookie season you could ever have in a car you've never driven with no practice to go out and win a race the way he did, and you're still sitting there floundering a couple years in.
Yeah, how come you haven't put yourself in that position?
Exactly. Yeah. So again, I don't expect Byron to go anywhere. I'm sure Hendrick's gonna, Hendrick's got the money invested. He's got the investment on Byron. He expects good things out of him. I think we're still going to see good things out of him. But Byron might be one of those cases. He might be another Joey Logano type situation that maybe a change of scenery down the road does him some good. So
yeah, we're at that point where we're starting to. Like I said, he's on the line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where his contract is and everything. Nobody's talking about William Byron going anywhere, so don't get me wrong. I mean, he's
we're just
pretty
saying,
solid where he's at right now. But at some point, the discussion's going to start because all these guys that are moving around right now are going to get locked into spots, and there's going to need to be a spot somewhere, and he's going to eventually become the discussion if he's not proven himself. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And since we're talking about that one moment on the race on Sunday, what'd you think about Jimmy taking that 2-tire gamble? And it paid off for him. I mean, getting a third place finish, really, he had a great weekend, and that just was a great points move from them.
It was
he's in a really good spot going into Daytona as he's chasing that spot down, but puts him in a good place.
Yeah, it definitely improves the situation. I don't know. I thought it was pretty risky. He only gained a couple spots, so it's not like it was a giant win.
Yeah.
But he did finish ahead of Byron, albeit one spot, but he still finished ahead of Byron, so that gives him the advantage there. I don't know. Again, it was risky. You saw Austin Dillon, stay out on old tires and run really well, but other drivers had struggled a lot on tires as well, and so a lot of it came down to clean air, and if you could stay in the clean air, you're good. But you had Harvick up front and Hamlin running up there. Like, you're not expecting to keep clean air. You're not expecting to keep Harvick behind you at that point, I don't think. So you're not going to to be in the lead after this all cycles out.
If somebody spins their tires or something,
right.
you're in that spot. You got to have some luck sometimes, and
if he could stay ahead of Harvick for a couple laps, things change a little bit. Now Harvick's tires are warm. They're a little bit more even. Maybe he's got a shot at holding out there. And he's a 7-time champ. I mean, at this point, when you're outside looking in, you got to throw everything at it. You got to take the risks because you're not going to get in by doing what you've been doing. You've got to take that extra step. So in the end, obviously it paid off. Not a ton, but it paid off. And, they got to take risks like that. They're going to take some this weekend too. And at the same point, Jimmy can't afford this weekend to ride in the back and hope for a win. Jimmy's got to race every single stage this weekend. He has got to get every point he can in both of the stages to start out, because he could he could essentially lock himself in with a couple good finishes in the stages,
Yeah, he could put himself right in a good spot. Yeah, he gets, you win 2 stages, that's 20 points.
Yep.
So
Yep.
And with him too, I heard this on the teardown. Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi. Jimmy Johnson's wrecked in 6 of his last 12 Daytonas, like wrecked out DNF of 6 out of his last 12 Daytona races. So he has to have a good showing because it's tough. I mean, that's gonna be tough to overcome.
Yeah, and he won't. I mean,
yeah.
No, I want to see Jimmy. You and I talked. I want to see Jimmy get in the playoffs. I'd like to see him in the playoffs for his last season. I'd like to see him go out on top. I mean, I don't expect him to win the championship, but I'd like to see him, get himself maybe a couple rounds in and make it interesting. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to have trouble at Daytona this weekend, as we've seen many times in Jimmy's career. And Daytona, I mean, despite Daytona 500 wins, this is just not a place for him. And I think there's too much on the line. I think Jimmy's going to struggle this weekend, to be honest. But
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, he really did run a good couple of races at Dover, but that's to be expected. He's the best ever.
If there's Martinsville, Dover, I mean, those are the tracks that you go, yeah, Jimmy should run good here. If he's running bad here, then just throw the season away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so. I agree.
Let's see. Anything else? So Chase Elliott wrecks out early in the Stenhouse wreck in race number 2. This was, I've hinted at it before we started the podcast, but this ticked me off because I thought I couldn't remember who I picked, and I thought I picked Chase, and I'm like, for our picks here, and I'm like, oh my God. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Chase Elliott both wreck out right in the first wreck early in the race. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. James is going to gain all these points on me. And, and it worked out. So I'm good.
Oh, these dang picks, man. They're starting to stress everybody out. Not just me. Yeah.
I don't even care about fantasy. I care about the picks.
Yeah, the picks have become a point of contention.
Yeah.
Because I'm just getting my butt whipped. So, it's become a thing. It's a whole thing now.
So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Let's see. Race 2. Chase Elliott again, 39th place finish for him. Stenhouse finishes 37th, so bummer for both of those guys.
And he had a good run in race 1 too. Stenhouse was good in race 1. I think he had a top 10. If I'm looking at it correctly, he was right there.
Yeah, Stenhouse 10th place. Yep.
So that was a good race 1, and then not to be able to back that up stinks. But he's waiting for this week anyway.
Right.
This is where he has a chance to do something. So
nobody else really super notable up front. Clint Boyer has a good finish on Saturday, finishes 6th, and then had some issues in the pits and stuff on Sunday.
Yeah.
And ends up, where the heck is he? Where'd he go?
He ended up 16th on Saturday.
Yeah. So, Boyer.
He's locked into the playoffs.
He's
now,
not locked into the playoffs.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes, he has I'm looking at it right now. He has a cushion.
Yes.
The biggest of cushions.
He is pretty much good to go, but he needs to have a good finish in the first stage, and then he can breathe a little easier.
Go out and win stage 1 or be right there, and he's fine. Yeah, he's fine. DeBenedetto, we'll talk about the playoff picture in a little while, but he's doing fine. I think he's going to be okay.
Yep. Anything else to talk about with Dover? How do we like the doubleheader here? I think
I think it worked really well at Dover, actually.
Yeah.
I really I liked both races. I thought they were both pretty decent races. Dover can be kind of a snooze fest sometimes, and I didn't really find that this time. I was engaged for the most part. I had to step away a couple of times, but when I was tuned in, it was really good. That late restart on race 2 was fantastic. I thought Truex added to the drama both races. He was really good. And the Jimmy Johnson thing was really fun to see what he could do there. That last 18-lap shootout was pretty cool.
I liked watching him have trouble controlling cars. I think we need a little bit more of that.
I love the 750 horsepower being back under the hood.
Yeah, dude, I almost texted you during the race. Like, come on, let's just slap this package back on him. Forget about the new car. Let's just run this thing.
Yeah,
I want to see the low downforce 750 package back at Michigan, and
I think you finally come all the way back around.
I have.
Yeah.
There are some advantages to the current car, the 550 car.
Restarts.
Yeah, exactly. That's really all it is. And I mean, yes, they've made some races better, but I think in the end, especially now that we've gotten to see this low downforce package again on these tracks, I prefer them having to handle the cars than run wide open. I want to see them lift in the turns.
I didn't put this in the notes again. I was really missing out on the notes today. But Cole Custer tested the next gen car at Dover. We can probably talk about it really quick.
Yeah.
But I actually tweeted this morning. Every time I hear the motor on that car, it gives me it's just makes me sick. It sounds terrible.
It doesn't.
It just sounds like it's waning all the way around the track.
You know what I miss, James? I miss my very first Busch Series race was when they came to Michigan the first time, which was like 92 or 91. I think it was 91. And those 6-cylinder Bumblebee motors they had in those things were so damn cool to listen to on that track. I was so bummed when they went to the 8-cylinder motors in the Xfinity or the Busch Series cars, because it ruined the sound of those things buzzing around the track. Not that I want that in the Cup Series, but
I know we've only seen one next gen car on a track at a time, and I want to see. Maybe they'll change my mind during testing.
You're not going to notice the difference when you got a bunch of cars out there. So here's the thing.
It sounds bad, dude. It just sounds bad.
So even IndyCar sounds different than NASCAR, right?
Yeah.
But when I went to the Belle Isle race, it sounded like a NASCAR race. It sounds the same. They're loud motors. You're not going to notice the difference. The only time I've ever noticed the difference is back when Morgan McClure used to run that souped up engine or whatever they ran at Daytona and Talladega. You could always hear that thing different, but it's going to sound the same. You're not going to notice the difference.
All right, we'll see.
I hope that. So I was reading some of the stuff about the new Formula One car for next season, and they were talking a lot about ground effects and how that's supposed to help the aero on the cars, and I think that is a lot to do with what they're trying to do with this new car as well. And I hope it's able to do it. I hope it's able to give them the downforce that they need without reducing the airflow on the car behind it. That's the plan in Formula One. I think that's the plan in NASCAR with the diffuser and stuff that they have in the back of it. But I mean, we've had this plan before. We had a wing on the cars that supposedly was going to make it easier for the car behind it. It didn't work. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but
don't forget the wing. Never forget the wing.
Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. I didn't have a problem with the wing, but anyway. What else?
I think that's about it for Dover, man.
Yeah, I did want to say that I know 311 still seemed long to me, but I think it had more to do with the fact that I literally watched every race but the ARCA race this weekend.
You watched a lot of racing this weekend.
I think there was just too much racing.
You were tapped in.
Oh, here's one more thing that I want to complain about. And this is, I don't know if I can really blame anybody, but so on Sunday, we got to see 3 races if you were following motorsports. You got to see the Xfinity race in the morning, early in the afternoon. You got to see the Indy 500, and you got to see the Cup race in the late afternoon. The problem is, the way they scheduled it was you couldn't watch a race all the way through without missing part of another race. Every race overlapped with another one, and they're all on the same damn network. How could we not have figured this out to where I didn't miss the first quarter of the Cup race because I wanted to watch the Indy 500, because I wanted to sit through 500 miles of Indy cars to watch them cross the line at 70 miles an hour under caution. I mean, it was frustrating.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
And I DVR, I delay races and stuff, but so my issue is with the fantasy, I want to watch the Cup races live now because I want to be able to use my bench. And so I'm trying. I know if we just got rid of fantasy, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But so I'm trying to keep the Cup race live. Well, so I sat through the IndyCar race until I saw it was going to finish under caution, and then jumped over and started from the beginning. And I didn't get to use my bench because of it. But anyway, first world problems. But we could have. I realized that the Indy 500's pushed back. We got a doubleheader when we wouldn't have had a doubleheader. It's all because of COVID. But I feel like we could have planned it a little bit better. Couldn't we have started the Xfinity race earlier?
Especially when you were at the track at Michigan when they had to delay it for an Xfinity Series race. Yeah, we could have figured this out.
Exactly. We didn't start the Xfinity race until, first of all, the Indy 500 didn't start till 2:30. Usually an Indy 500 starts at noon when they run it on Memorial Day weekend. And then the Xfinity race started at 1. Start that sucker earlier. Run it in the morning. You guys work together. But anyway, it's not like we had to worry about the fans getting to the track.
This is one of those things where we just need It's just COVID. Throw your hands up.
I know.
COVID.
I know.
Stupid.
It's we
Can't
got to
help
see
it.
3 races this weekend. There weren't any rain delays, or 3 races on Sunday, no rain delays. So
And,
quit
and
bitching.
IndyCar still sucks
Yeah.
at stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, James. I got that on the news next. The Indy 500. For those of you who missed out on it, it was a kind of a snooze fest as Scott Dixon led the entire race except for the parts where he decided not to lead to save fuel. And then there was a crash with 4 laps to go, and the IndyCar decided not to red flag the race. They don't do green, white checkers, so we finished under caution. And Scott Dixon finished second because he was behind Takuma Sato, who happened to be leading, and Takuma Sato gets his second Indy 500 win. And
Takuma Sato, 2-time Indy 500 winner. Look at that.
So this frustrates me. This is the biggest race of the year for IndyCar. This is the only race in the entire season that IndyCar
matters.
is relevant.
Yeah, it doesn't. Nothing else matters.
And I'm not dissing IndyCar. I like IndyCar. I have watched a bunch of IndyCar races this year. I got to go to an IndyCar race a couple years ago. I plan to go back again when there isn't COVID and they actually have one in Detroit. I want to go cover the Indy 500 someday. But, man, it's the biggest race ever, and you're finishing under caution. I realize it doesn't happen that often. Last time was 2013, but come on. I don't even care. Okay, so don't extend the distance, but red flag the thing. You had time.
Yeah, I know.
But I get it. There's a lot of traditionalists at IndyCar. We're not NASCAR. Jeff Gluck was talking on his podcast.
We don't do gimmicks and I know.
We don't do gimmicks, James, because we have option tires. We have push to pass.
Yeah,
we've done double file restarts, and now we don't do those anymore.
They're purists.
Yeah, we've done standing starts. We've done rolling starts. We start 3 wide at the Indy 500, but we don't do gimmicks.
No. I know. They drive me crazy. The only fan base that irritates me more than NASCAR fans are IndyCar fans.
Yeah. I will say Spencer Pickett's crash, pretty spectacular coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, that was, woo, boy.
Say again, Roger Penske, come on, man. Let's spend some money at
big.
that place. Let's fix the pit road there. Let's make it less dangerous.
That was big.
There was a wreck coming out of turn 4 earlier than that too. That was a similar thing, and you get cars that shoot back out across the track because they angle that wall, and it's happened throughout the history of that racetrack, and we haven't fixed it yet.
Yeah, that was pretty wicked.
I mean, the track is 100 and some years old, and we still are wrecking across the front stretch because we can't change the angles of walls because of tradition.
Yeah,
there's a freaking golf course in the middle of the thing. There's room.
Yeah, we can do something there. We can help those drivers out a little bit. Yeah, I agree, because that was wicked.
I think the aero screen that they have on the cars is awesome. I'm so glad to see that. Makes the cars a lot safer. I am getting tired of every time somebody's involved in an accident, the NBC announcers talk about how the aero screen saved the driver's life. I guess we were hurting some people, and yes, we had some deaths in the IndyCar, but they weren't dying every time they hit something.
No,
so let's not give too much credit to the aero screen.
They had a long stretch where they didn't have anything happen. Same with F1. Like F1 before the Halo, they didn't have a whole lot of problems. It just makes more sense to put those things in when you've got the technology to do so.
It seemed pretty stupid to be driving around at 230 miles an hour with your head sticking out of a car.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm glad that they did it. And I'm not discounting it all. I mean, maybe it did save his life this weekend in that wreck, but certainly it's going to save some lives. So it's great that they have it. I feel like I'm really cynical tonight. It's not intentional.
It's just it's the way you woke up this morning. It's okay, man. We'll get through.
You know what it is, James, is I was good. I was ready to go for this podcast, came home, I got all my stuff set up, and then I had to wait for Kutch. And I started getting tired, and I was about falling asleep, and then I get the message, I'm ready to go. And so
we do this about the same time every week.
I know, I just have to blame you.
That sounds like a you problem.
Anything else with the Indy 500?
Not much. I didn't really tune in.
Yeah.
I just, this year, and the ratings were really bad, so I wasn't the only one who was like, I was watching NASCAR. Sorry.
It's just not the same when it's not a Memorial Day. It was an okay race. It wasn't spectacular. It certainly lost a lot of its pomp and circumstance. As expected.
We want to see it back. Yeah, we want to see it back full strength next year.
Yeah, COVID sucks.
We all do. It does. Yep.
All right, let's talk some more. Let's talk some more news, James. Steve Phelps elected to NASCAR's board of directors. That announcement came today, right?
Yeah, that was this morning. Yep, that's pretty cool. He's done a lot of really good things for NASCAR, and I just, that just furthers his relevance in the sport with leadership. He is, he's the guy we want. I mean, he's done, Eric. I really, I mean, he's had a few missteps, but not many.
Yeah.
Not like his predecessor. I'll tell you that.
Right.
He is a solid hand at the head of the ship here, and
Yep.
he's been doing a really good job. Just gives him a little bit more influence on things, really, and I think that's a good thing. Steve's got a good, he's got a good hand on the pulse of this sport. He's done a great job.
Yep. I don't have anything to add. Good job.
Here you go. Steve Phelps elected to the board of directors. And this isn't a position change. This is just adding to his duties. So,
Right.
He's going to be around a little while yet.
Yep. Good. Corey LaJoie announces that he is leaving Go Fast Racing at the end of the season. Word is that he's leaving because somebody else is bringing some money to replace him, and so Corey's getting out ahead of it. However, Corey has some interest as well in that he's got some sponsorship with them. He's got some money with them, not a giant salary. And so he's popped up in this discussion of where drivers go. I know that he has expressed interest in the past at a certain 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports.
He's made it known publicly and in an elevator with Mr. Hendrick.
So let me say this, James. I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So you know my feelings of Corey LaJoie as a person.
Yep.
I'm not super fine. I mean, I've never met the guy. I've only
he doesn't come off as I don't know. He's got a way about him. A personality that maybe clashes with others. Yeah, I get that.
My impression of him has all come from his podcast and his interactions on Twitter. So I can't. I mean, I don't have any firsthand knowledge, but
his Denny Hamlin beef was pretty weird.
Yeah. That being said, I think Corey has really grown as a driver. I think he's better than the equipment he's in, and I think he has elevated the team that he's driven for this season. And I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Hendrick take a chance on him and give him a year or two and see what he can do in that 48 car.
Yeah.
The problem is you've got Eric Jones out there. But the problem with Eric Jones is I think he's worth too much.
Maybe, but you never know with the country being in the situation that it's in. Do you just, if you're Eric Jones, do you sign the dotted line on a deal that is?
Well, and I think that's what's going to have to happen is Eric Jones is going to have to take less than he's worth to be able to get a ride.
Yeah, well, Brad Keselowski's done it.
I'll tell you what, where I wouldn't be surprised to see Eric Jones end up is in one of those Stewart Haas cars.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
that is an organization that might be willing to give him more of what he's expecting.
Yeah. Yep. With
with
dominoes yet to fall, Corey LaJoie being added to the list, I just don't know. I'm not sure where he's going to end up.
So it's looking more and more to me like Bubba Wallace is staying at that 43 car.
Possibly. Yeah.
And I think, that then there's two names really for that 48 car, unless, so it's a little bit further down in the notes.
Let's get into it. We're talking silly season.
I wanted to talk Kyle Larson a little bit again. James, do you have the stats in front of you by chance?
I don't have them pulled up right now, but filibuster for me and I'll grab them for you.
Okay.
Let's talk about
it. I mean, James is going to give you some numbers here in a second, but Kyle Larson has been on an absolute tear in the dirt track series, running sprint cars. He won in a silver crown car this weekend, a car that he doesn't even typically drive. He's basically at that point where he can get in anything and win in it. Something that a lot of drivers can't say or can't do. They talked on Door Bumper Clear today that they put him in the category of a Kyle Busch that could get in any car and win. That's pretty impressive. We know that Matt Kenseth isn't a slump. He was put in that 42 car and hasn't performed this year, which might just go to show you a little bit more as to how well Larson was performing in that 42 car.
Yeah.
So the thing is my question with Larson is yes, he comes with a lot of heavy baggage, but can the right team owner convince the right sponsors and the right manufacturers to take a chance on him and get him into their stable. If they can, he becomes the most sought after free agent right now. I think he's above Eric Jones.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, yeah.
Yeah. He certainly is making a name for himself right now, or making a case as to why he should be in a Cup car.
Right, yeah, and I'm buried in the Facebook Messenger trying to find these stats.
I mean, so
but
here's the
I do
thing.
know off the top of my head. Here's the thing. He hasn't finished worse than 6th. He's got a boatload of wins in like 26 starts, and his average finish is 1.8 and change.
Yeah.
Since he's run all the dirt track races, and the win total. I don't have the win total in front of me, but it's significant. It's a lot. You and I were messaging like, is there anybody in their prime who could have done this?
Right.
And the only person I brought up is like Tony Stewart, if he quit racing Cup and went and did dirt track full time, maybe.
I don't think so though.
No, these are video game numbers. He's playing the game on easy.
Because Stewart went and ran sprint cars, and yes, he won some races, but he wasn't. And of course, he wasn't running every other night like Larson is. But
Eric, he's won every night since he's gone and done it.
Right, and that's the thing is he's winning. James, he hasn't won like when Stewart went to Tri-City and raced with the sprints on dirt. He hasn't won regional races. He's won World of Outlaws.
USAC, yeah. All-Star Circuit of Champions.
Exactly. I mean, he's beating the best in sprint cars right now after not driving them for the most part over the last. I mean, he drove them, but
46 dirt races, 39 podiums, 29 wins.
It's insane.
Worst finish is 6th with 1 DNQ.
So here's my question, James.
Ridiculous, dude. Ridiculous.
Here's my question. We wrote him off when he did what he did and got suspended. We wrote him off.
Well, we wrote him off as a marketable driver, right?
We wrote him off
as the guy.
We wrote him off as the driver of the 48 car.
Yep.
Did we do that too early?
Well, no, I don't think he's going there because Chevy severed that tie pretty hard. I don't know, man. I don't know if Chevy's going to let that happen.
It's hard to say. Chevy could get some wins. What do you think is more important to Chevy? They're not winning right now.
Yeah, I know. I just don't know if that's...
I've seen crazier things.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Ford it makes sense. I just don't think for...
I think that Chevy has, or Hendrick has a good enough relationship with Chevy that Hendrick could get it done if he wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, Rick could pull the strings. I
mean, there's a lot that has to come with this. You have to get the manufacturer support. You got to get a sponsor behind him. He's not going to go anywhere without a sponsor. But I just feel like there's enough sponsors out there that want to win that they're going to see what he's doing, and he's going to become a marketable driver. And they talked on DBC today that a lot of people have him pinpointed for that 14 car, but they don't think he's going to that 14 car.
It just makes sense that he goes to Stewart-Haas over anybody else.
It does make sense, but when Clint Boyer's spotter's saying, I don't think he's getting the 14 car.
Well, is that just politicking, though?
Maybe. I don't know. Brett doesn't really do that, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
you want to lobby for your own guy.
So Brett has a lot of inside info, and I mean, Brett dropped the bomb this week too on the Michael Jordan interested in the 43 team. Adam Stern hinted that there was a celebrity interested in helping the team or funding the team, but didn't say who the celebrity was.
I love that so much. You know how much I love that.
Right.
It's right in my wheelhouse.
So, I mean, who knows? I mean, there's definitely there's some big tiles to fall. Obviously, when we know what Bubba's doing, I think that might start things off. Eric Jones, we know he's going somewhere. He's not going to be without a ride. So, and it doesn't make financial sense, doesn't make any sense whatsoever for Hendrick to shut down that 48 team. So somebody's going to be in that car next year.
Yeah. Eric, I think if the world didn't change like it did after Larson said what he said, I think he'd already be lined up for something by now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're probably right. You're probably right, but if you could work a deal out, you don't need to make the announcement until freaking January. I mean, But
you look at what's happening. Like, we had another incident. I don't want to get into all that stuff, but let's not do that. But listen, man, you think a sponsor is going to say like let's say the 48's a possibility and they have Ally. You think Ally is going to be like, oh man, we should sign. Yeah, we can be on board with Kyle Larson when you've got just down the street, the Detroit Lions are skipping practice to protest. I just don't know if the puzzle pieces all fit,
So you had Lowe's that sponsored that 31 car for years.
Yeah.
And struggled. I think they won a race. Did Skinner win a race in that car?
Skinner never won. He won in Japan, but
right.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon did. Gordon won.
So Robbie Gordon won a race. So you telling me Lowe's doesn't take a chance if you tell them you're guaranteeing some wins? I mean, you're going to guarantee some wins with Larson to make that step into the next. I mean, I just feel like that's a terrible comparison, but I just feel like sponsors want to win. They want a winning driver.
They do.
So
yep,
I don't know. I think money talks, and I think there's going to be a lot of money here, and so I don't know.
Yep.
I would be absolutely shocked if we race the Daytona 500 next year and Kyle Larson isn't in a car.
I would too. I think he'll be driving something,
and it's going to be a top-notch team because he's not going to come in and run for go fast.
Yeah.
Why would he? He's dominating the sprint car series.
Yeah, he's lost a ton of money, and if he's racing in the Cup Series, it's to win races. It's not to get paychecks. That's for sure. He's going to go try to win races, and he's going to be on a significant discount.
I'm calling it right now. He comes in to Roush next year, turns the organization around, and become a championship favorite. No.
Well, maybe he'll go back to the 42 car after what Kenseth's done.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, that's an interesting spot too. Who ends up in that 42 car? Could that be Eric Jones?
Possibly, if Bubba doesn't take it. Yeah. I mean, if Michael Jordan is coming to Richard Petty, I mean, that's gonna be hard to leave. That guy's got endless funding. I don't know.
I'm most curious about that 48 car, and I will say that I said Corey LaJoie.
Something's coming.
I said Corey LaJoie possibly to that position. I think I mentioned earlier. I think Corey LaJoie ends up in one of the JTG cars, probably.
Yeah, and I've said before, I think the 48's already a done deal with Jones. I don't see them letting him get away. Yeah. They'll get him on a cheaper discount than they might have before a pandemic.
You're probably right. I mean, it's fun to speculate though.
It is fun. Oh no, that's what this season's all about.
I'd love to see again, my feelings aside from him, I'd love to see Corey LaJoie get a shot in a top-notch team and see what he could do. The other one that is still a question mark is Matt DiBenedetto only has a 1-year contract.
Yep, DiBenedetto's out there.
We got guys waiting in the wings to fill that seat.
Does LaJoie take that spot? Yeah. I mean, that's a natural progression, right? If DiBenedetto's not getting it done, I think the Wood brothers are happy with Matt.
We have too many. Well, they're happy with Matt unless Cindric becomes an option.
Well, that's true. I know.
So
I know we give DiBenedetto a hard time for this season, but think about how much that team has improved year over year with him in that car.
Yeah,
that's all. I mean, that's a shot at my favorite driver ever. But I mean, that car is in a much better position. Than where it's been. So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think what it comes down to is there's too many good drivers and not enough good rides right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
That's right. Yep.
And also uncertainty in short contracts because nobody knows what's going to happen next year.
Eric, you can almost count on both of your hands how many really good seats there are left in this sport.
Yeah.
At this point, there's not. I mean, the competition is watered down at the back half of this field, and if you don't get one of those big seats, it doesn't make for some guys it won't make sense. That's why you've seen some retirements too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's bust through the rest of this and wrap this sucker up, man, because we're going long now, as we expected we would end up doing. Let's see. Darlington gets a sponsor for the Southern 500. It will be the Cookout Southern 500.
Thank you, Cookout.
Yeah,
for supporting NASCAR. Yeah, that's
cool.
Deal.
And can't complain about getting a race sponsor as long as they don't change the name of it. So that's good.
Yep.
So this one, James, I don't know if you caught this at all, but on Door Bumper Clear, and this is the only spot I've seen this. I tried to do research, but they claim that, and I looked on the Eldora Twitter account, and it's accurate, that Eldora Speedway has unfollowed all of the NASCAR corporate accounts on their Twitter account.
No, we're doing this.
I'm only bringing it up because DBC did. Does this put some danger in what we're thinking might happen with Eldora down the road?
I hope not.
I hope not too, but the problem is
I don't want to speculate on this because it makes me sad.
We have gotten to this point, and COVID has pushed us over the edge here, where we're going to see even fewer non-companion events than we have in the past, and we already had very few. You know, you're going to see a track like Worldwide Technology Raceway. If they don't get a cup race, they're probably not going to have a truck race. You know, or at least, you know, right now the only non-companion races are teamed up with IndyCar races.
Yeah.
In the
run
COVID
IndyCars at Eldora.
Right,
It'd
exactly.
Be quite a sight to see.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't want to see the trucks and the Xfinity cars on all the same tracks as the Cup cars. Certainly, we're adding a couple tracks this year that'll be fun to see them on. But I hope not. Financially, it's becoming that direction. We know that the Xfinity race at Eldora is not a moneymaker. It's a write-off for them to advertise the track for other races. Right. You know, and they're not selling it out. But who knows? I mean, NASCAR could fix this by lowering the sanctioning fees to get this lower series into their tracks. But it comes with TV dollars and all that stuff, and there's a lot to it. And
it's expensive for these truck teams to keep they're keeping. How old are those chassis? If they're not building new chassis to go race Eldora. They've got old trucks, and they're 5-6 years old, and they race the same trucks every year at Eldora because it's a one-off event. So
I mean, I hope it's not true. I hope that we get another race at Eldora. I'll be really bummed if we don't go back because
we're supposed to see the schedule here in the next week or so.
We won't see the truck schedule though.
Maybe not.
We'll probably only see the Cup schedule. No. Well, hard to say that we've released all three before, so we'll see.
I feel like if something was going down, Smoke would have already started something.
Ben vocal.
Yeah.
I'll be pretty bummed because last year was the only year I didn't go, and if I missed only one race at Eldora of all the races at Eldora, I'll be really ticked off that I didn't go last year because I could have made it happen, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. I hope it's not true.
I hope
we'll
not.
See.
We need trucks on dirt, and there's not a better dirt track than Eldora, so.
Yep.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yep. It's nothing. It's like I said, only Brett Griffin's talking about it. Adam Stern, none of those guys have said a word. There was nothing on Twitter. I did a bunch of searches, searched news apps, Google, nothing. So,
hey, Roger Slack, if you listen to this, come out.
Yeah, right, Roger. I'm sure he does.
He's a good dude.
He is.
Good dude. Yeah, really good at what he does. But yeah, I hope we keep the trucks, please.
Yeah,
please,
definitely. And you know what? Let's throw an Xfinity race in there too. By the way, I'm still down
let's
for
do
that. Let's do it.
Xfinity, I'm on board
trucks
with it now.
at Eldora.
Yep, I'm on board with it now. If that's what it takes,
there we go.
Let's do it. Yep.
All right, playoff bubble. Let's talk bubble, James. Here's where we're at. Here's where we're at.
Not the NBA bubble or the NHL bubble.
Yeah,
it's the playoff bubble.
This bubble is a little less coronavirus proof. As a matter of fact, you know, if it wasn't for the coronavirus, Jimmy Johnson might not be in this bubble.
That's possible, yeah.
So, Clint Boyer hanging out in 14th place right now, 57 points ahead of 17th, 57 points to the good. He's basically in. We mentioned it earlier. He's got to have a good first stage at Daytona and he can lock himself in and be good to go into the playoffs. But a bad day, especially a bad day early, could really change things up. So what it comes down to really is we got four guys that are vying for 2 spots. We got Matt DiBenedetto in 15th place. He's 9 to the good. We have William Byron in 16th, 5 to the good. We have Jimmy Johnson, who is 5 to the bad, in 17th place. And then Eric Jones, he's 50 out. He needs a win. I mean...
Yep, Eric Jones needs to win.
He needs a win or he needs to have a killer race at Daytona. But
he's won this race before.
So I guess what it comes down to, James, is does Jimmy get in? And if he does, who does he take out?
I don't think Jimmy's going to make it.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, whoever ends up in 16th, there's a good chance they don't make it either. I think you've got to be sitting, for your sanity, you got to be sitting in that 15th spot.
Oh, definitely.
You know, just for, and DiBenedetto, and it's so dang close, Eric.
Okay, so which one falls out, James? Matt or Byron? Who's out? And who gets in? Who wins the race to get in?
I think we got to keep our tabs on. I mean, this thing could get wild. We could get a win from Stenhouse. I mean, that's a possibility. It's a long shot, but it's a possibility. I mean, heck, Matt DiBenedetto could win a race, and nothing changes.
Yep.
He'll be good. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody from the outside comes in, but it's going to be tight.
Well,
And, I mean, it already is tight.
I'm
really excited for this.
Bubba Wallace is really good at Daytona.
Yep, Bubba Wallace could sneak in for sure.
You know, Ty Dillon is good at Daytona.
Yep. Yep, both of the Dillons, even though Austin's locked in already. Yep.
Ryan Newman,
the Rocket Man. That'd be a hell of a story,
wouldn't it?
That would be really cool.
There's your NASCAR fairy tale ending right there.
Yeah, if he got in.
Ryan
after
Newman
what
wins
happened to him.
after his injury.
Yeah, man.
February.
I like that. Yeah.
I like that almost enough to make him my pick.
Yeah. That's
not quite enough though.
John Hunter Nemechek. You know, there's guys. I don't know. You know, come down. Heck, he's a play racer. You know, so that, I mean, that's what we're talking about, though. You know, that's the thing that's going to happen. We haven't had a realistic, you know, Jeremy Mayfield winning to get in, you know, many years ago and under the old system. I mean, he had to win a race to get in. But yeah, going to Daytona with this on the line is reminiscent of the Talladega when it was an elimination race. That's really what this is. This is an elimination race. The entire field's got a shot to make it.
Yeah.
If you're not in the playoffs and you're a full-time driver, you've got a shot to make it.
Yes.
Which I love this as a wild card Hail Mary. It could get really exciting. And that being said, Denny Hamlin will probably win, and then we, off to the next one. So.
There you go. All right. On that note, we go to Daytona International Speedway this weekend. We will wrap up the regular season at Daytona, the biggest wild card race we've ever had at least to end the regular season. I mean, we've had Talladega end a round, but I think this is even bigger because Talladega ending a round, there were only 16 guys that it affected. This affects everybody in the field as long as you're running the full season. So,
yes, it does.
A lot could happen this weekend. And on that note, let's look back at Dover real quick. James had a really good day with Denny Hamlin getting 2 points as the Saturday winner, and then that was it.
That was it. There was a 1 point swing. I gained 1 point over the weekend. That was it.
I got Martin Truex Jr. ahead of him on Sunday, and then James had William Byron on Sunday. I had Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on Saturday. We got points for those. So 33-26, I lead James after 24 races.
The Michigan dent will never be recoverable. I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Yep.
It's going to be tough.
The Harvick double has done good for me. So
yeah, well, that was more than just the Harvick double. That was the most epic butt whooping that we'll have. It's the landmark moment.
So this week is the last week that we will have a dark horse pick. Starting with the playoffs next week, we will pick one driver in the playoffs, one driver out of the playoffs as our two picks for the rest of the season. On that note, James, you get the first pick at Daytona.
For Daytona,
so what are you going to just draw a card out of a hat, or what do you? What's your strategy here?
Yeah, I just randomly pick a name. Anybody, any name. Oh my God, boy, it's going to be. I know I'm going to pick him again. Just give me Denny Hamlin. I feel like it's a safer pick. I mean, I don't know how he's gonna. I don't know what his strategy is in this race. Stay out of trouble. He doesn't need it. Neither does Harvick. So it's weird. It's not the Daytona 500 where he's won 3 of those bad boys, but he's probably the best restrictor plate racer we got right now. So maybe he wants to go after some more bonus points. I'll just take him as a safe pick. He's smart.
There you go. All right, I am going to use my advantage and the fact that I have a little bit of a lead, and I'm gonna
got some cushion. Yeah,
I'm gonna pick a little wild here. Not too wild. It's really not going too far on a limb, but I'm gonna go with somebody who needs to win to get in, and I'm really tossed between them because they're both right together in the average finish. But I'm gonna go with the hometown boy and Eric Jones getting the win and locking himself into the playoffs.
Winning in. Yeah, he won this race 2 years ago.
Yep.
And back when it was on the 4th of July. But yes, 2 years ago.
Then for my dark horse pick, I am going to go with the guy that was running third at Daytona for the 500. I believe he was third when he caught a car in his lap, and I'm going to go Corey LaJoie as my dark horse pick.
That's a good pick. That's a really good dark horse pick. So the last time we raced at Daytona was a week ago, and I picked Michael McDowell because of his road course prowess.
Good pick.
And I'm going to pick Michael McDowell again. He is just solid. And if your guys wreck out, Michael McDowell is going to be running. He's going to be in the top. He will be in the top 10 during this race at some point. And if he can survive a big crash, he'll finish there. It's what he does. So I'll take him just as more of a safe, kind of a safe play. But I feel like it's a solid pick.
So a couple questions for you real quick, James. First of all, this race has a ton of hype going into it. It has potential to be one of the biggest NASCAR races in ages.
It does.
Is it going to live up to the hype is my first question.
I think those last 10 laps of this race are going to be dripping with intrigue. I don't know how these guys are going to play it. Last time we raced at the Oval at Daytona was really scary. Yeah. So I don't know how the drivers are going to handle that, but I think this race is going to live up to the hype. I think we've got something. I think we got a good idea here. And these drivers have shown us, Eric, that they're not scared of much. They just go for it at Daytona. So I think we're going to have a good race.
Right.
Hopefully we don't wreck everybody out. I mean, that would ruin it, but.
Well, here's my opinion. My opinion is that I agree 100% with you if we get there. But it is August, and it is Daytona Beach, Florida. And when I look at the forecast, yes, it's a week out, but I look at the forecast. Saturday is a 50% chance of thunderstorms and a high of 92. Saturday night is a slight chance of thunderstorms. Fortunately, 20% Saturday night, low of 77. So I don't know if we're going to run the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona or if we're going to run the Coke Zero 200 at Daytona. And I don't know if we're going to finish on Saturday or Sunday. But let's hope that we don't get rain and that things stay dry and we get to carry this whole thing out. If it goes the distance, it's going to be a heck of a finish. If it doesn't go the distance, we're going to all be disappointed. And, unfortunately, this time of year in Daytona, we're probably setting ourselves up to be disappointed. But fingers crossed.
Yep. I have my fingers crossed.
So it stayed dry for the most part for the road course. So hopefully we can stay dry for this. I mean, we had a lightning delay, but
yeah, we did.
So I would not make any plans for early Sunday morning because if history tells us anything, this race could very well finish at like 2 a.m. We've done it before.
Oh, I loved that. That was that's one of my favorite NASCAR memories is staying up till like 1:30 a.m. and Tony Stewart winning. It was the Pepsi 400, I think, back then. But that was so much fun.
When he wrecked Kyle Busch on the start at the front?
No, this was before that. This was years before that. He was still driving the Home Depot 20, and I was all by myself at my parents' house, and I was, I don't know how, I was probably 14 or 15 years old, just loving it. It was great.
Mine was the one where I stayed up super late till like 2 a.m, was barely staying awake, couldn't stay awake, watched final lap. Austin Dillon went airborne into the fence.
Oh my God, yeah,
I was wide freaking awake and couldn't fall asleep for like 2 hours after that race.
Yeah, that's another good one, like Tony Stewart's roof cam.
Yeah.
And Austin Dillon goes flying over. Jeez,
yeah. That wreck was so insane.
Yeah,
completely insane. So hopefully we keep them all on the ground. We keep things safe this weekend at Daytona. We don't need another Daytona 500 type situation. We want some excitement. We want some battling. We want 4 wide coming on the line. Just keep them on the ground.
Yep.
Rubber side down, guys. Rubber side down.
Yep. That's it.
What about the fantasy league this week, James? I can't remember. I either finished.
You beat me by a couple in the second
one. I thought I finished right above you.
Yeah, so the first race, Ranger got the win, Barron Speedway second, Freight Train third. And then the second race, here it is. Barron gets the win. We all did worse on the second. For some reason, we all did better on the first race. I think we had some guys crash out, and Denny Hamlin really messed up my day. But yeah, you did. You beat me by 3 points on the second day. But Barron got the win, Freight Train, and then Justin 7-1-3, all like under a blanket too. They were all close to each other.
I just can't wait for the playoffs so I can start picking good drivers again.
And I think our league is now down to 7. We had Jay Wint has he made a nice like rally, and then he didn't. I don't think he made picks this time.
He probably just picked the first race and just picked good drivers, and
He
so
was coming along. Yeah, he was coming along really well.
probably picked one time and never picked
yeah.
again, and he just ran out of starts.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes in the playoffs because it's gonna, we get some resets and stuff here after this week. Overall, Freight Train's still in the lead. It's close, man. It's 11 points between him and Ranger. Same thing we had last year. These two guys duking it out, and then Justin 713 is in third, Denny the Benny, then myself. Barron Speedway, he leapt past you after a really good weekend. He's been picking really well, so he's up to sixth, and then Eric is in seventh.
Yeah,
there you go. There's the fantasy league.
There you go. Right. Shout outs, James. I know you got one. What do you got?
Yep. Does the name Brock Beard sound familiar to you? Do you know who that is?
It does, but I don't know why.
Very much. He's well known by NASCAR nerds as Last Car. He has a YouTube channel, and he's got some awesome documentaries that he's doing on there. Okay. I highly recommend looking up his stuff. It is really good, really entertaining, back end information that I didn't, some things that I knew but didn't have a ton of info on. He's got everything. I watched. He did one called 3 Before February, and it was Kenny Irwin, Tony Roper, and Adam Petty, and talking about all the details that went into that. But he's got a ton more. If you want to look at just the history of NASCAR,
what is
really
his channel?
Stuff. It's just I looked him. I found
Beard?
him under just Brock Beard on YouTube.
Okay.
You just find his channel. He's that's his. I think it's his username.
Right.
But yeah, people know him as Last Car. He's been keeping the points totals for the last place finishes for many years. So Last Car is the back of the field, and then he awards Joe Nemechek's the Last Car Hall of Famer. So stuff like that's pretty funny. But yeah, YouTube channel is actually really good, really informational stuff. So if you want to learn a little bit about the history of NASCAR, he's got a ton of stuff the best retirement seasons and Darrell Waltrip's farewell tours, and I can't even. There's a lot. It's a lot. There's a ton. It's a great library.
Nice. Yeah, I just subscribed, so I'm excited about it.
Yep. There you go, Eric. You're gonna like it. I think it's right down. You like that kind of stuff. You'll fall right into the rabbit hole.
Well, I saw the 3 Before February one and somehow didn't stumble across his other stuff. So
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yep, I know you're a YouTube guy, so and I'm typically not on YouTube that much, but his stuff caught my attention.
Live on YouTube. Like I said, I pay for premium, so I don't have to watch ads. I was good with watching ads when they didn't put ads in the middle of shows. Now, they're in the middle of stuff, and if I get interrupted in the middle of a show for an ad, I'm just going to pay them to not have to watch it.
Facebook Watch is really good at that too, where they show you these really interesting clips, these viral type clips, and then right before something amazing is about to happen, they throw an ad at you, and you're like, oh crap, I got to watch the ad so I can see this ball fall on a trampoline from 50 stories above a thing. So
if I like your service and you don't have it priced ridiculously, I will pay to get rid of ads because I don't want ads.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to Hulu very often, but when I do, I go ad free. Same thing with CBS All Access, ad free. I don't want ads. I get so mad if I find a good game on my iPhone or something, and it has ads in it,
I know.
and it doesn't give you the option to buy the ads away. Just give me. I'll pay for it. Come on.
So there's a little trick to that.
Yeah.
If you say you don't allow the game to take on data and then you just turn off your Wi-Fi,
that's so much work.
I know. Trust me,
that's why I don't have an Android phone, because I don't screw with the settings. I just turn them on and let it work. I don't.
Okay, very good.
It's irritating. Anyway, let me jump into my shout out. I meant to shout this out last week, but completely forgot about it. I told our buddy Ben that I was going to discuss it on the podcast and completely didn't. So here we go. Dale Jr. on the Dale Jr. download a couple weeks ago had, hold on, let me get his name. Jeff Dickerson, part of Spire Motorsports. Yep. He's the Spire Motorsports
Kyle Busch's
president.
Former agent, right?
Yep.
He
He was on the Dale Jr. download to talk about Spire Motorsports, talk about them purchasing the second team, purchasing the Levine Family Racing charter, and about their plans going forward. And I will tell you, James, and I think you watched it too, I went from thinking these guys were a bunch of jokers that were just capitalizing on an opportunity to realizing that they have a plan. Their plan has been delayed by a year due to COVID and the introduction of the new car being pushed back a year. But these guys seem like they're doing the right thing. And, it's really easy to critique the new guys and make fun of them for trying, but we want new owners in this sport. We need new owners in this sport. So maybe we should give them the benefit of the doubt, give them a chance to prove themselves before we start ripping on them. We've done a lot of, I know I've personally done a lot of ripping on Spire Motorsports.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
And Junior, it's right in the title of the YouTube video, no longer a skeptic about Spire Motorsports. I'm with them, man. I think this shed a lot of light. I will put the clip to the YouTube, or the link to the clip, YouTube clip, in the show notes. If you guys haven't seen it, you can check it out. It seems like they're doing the right stuff and they're working toward that goal. It wasn't just an opportunity. There's apparently other teams that were shopping for this Levine Family Racing charter. Apparently there's other teams fighting for charters right now. They only took the Furniture Row Racing charter because they tried to help sell it and people weren't taking it. And I believe Barney Visser came to them and told them to do it. And so here they are, and they are looking for drivers for next year. And they see a big advantage coming into this new car, that this is going to put them on more equal ground, which is what this new car is supposed to do, and that they may be able to be competitive. And so awesome. More power to them.
Yeah, they're so I know you're not a basketball guy. I'll be quick. So the Philadelphia 76ers they got berated for tanking every year. Like they were putting out a crap team every year, try to get a bunch of lottery picks, and honestly, they made a couple of bad choices, but they got like two legit, really great players, and they made a run in the playoffs, and it didn't work out this year. But this is what Spire's doing. They are basically tanking for a couple of years, just making doing their best, and they are going to give it a try. And so what? We have backmarker teams all the time. If Spire can figure it out, make it work. Because I was like you, I thought they were just trying to get the charter and try to make money off of it, but no, they are legit trying to figure something out here. So
look, we lost a championship winning team.
Yep.
When we lost Furniture Row, two of them really. I mean, we lost two championship winning teams, and then we're losing another mid-tier, but decent mid-tier team in Levine Family Racing.
Yep.
We need
a team that
more,
could have gotten better.
Yeah. We need more teams to step in here. Yeah, right now it looks like if things fall the right way, Richard Petty Motorsports might be on the upswing a little bit, but you got other teams here that are struggling, and you have to assume that COVID's not going to make it easier on them, so we may lose more in the future. It's not like there's an abundance of Xfinity teams that are ready to make the jump. There's a couple that may down the road jump up, but it's not looking like it's going to happen anytime soon. We need teams. So somebody's going to come in here and buy a team. Let's give them the support.
You and I had a really good talk about this earlier today. Like Stuart Haas is an anomaly.
Yeah.
That was a team that was in the back, and I said it. If Stuart Haas had aligned with Joe Gibbs, they would have been done in 2012. Joe Gibbs would have priced them right out of the market. Instead, Rick Hendrick was super generous and kept them on the payroll with some good equipment, and look where they are now. They've pretty much done everything. They're an actual powerhouse.
Yep.
They're
not an actual powerhouse. They're the powerhouse.
Yeah, they're like, it's Gibbs and Stuart Haas.
I would say it's Stuart Haas and Gibbs.
Yeah. I mean, Gibbs is still winning the titles, I guess. Well, yeah.
So far.
I mean, yeah, they're neck and neck, right? Yeah. Gibbs, I think Gibbs has more funding with sponsorships and stuff, but
I think Gibbs just has a better situation with Toyota.
Yeah, and better driver roster too is part of that, and some depth. But
but Stuart Haas is in a position to improve that this year too.
Oh, for sure,
significantly.
Yeah, Stuart Haas could go out there and get Jones and Larson if you think about it that way. I mean, that's a possibility. So,
or LaJoy. I mean,
yeah, who knows? Yeah, and they've got Chase Briscoe tearing the world on fire. So they are really good. So, it's just one of those things. Like, if Spire's got a plan, let's let them give it a try.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not gonna pick on him anymore. It
is fun to pick on people. But
it is fun to pick on people.
I understand.
But now that I know that they've got the right intentions, I'm good. Yeah. Let's see him do it. Let's see him pull it off. And a lot of it was they didn't get the right media coverage either coming in. I think a lot of the media didn't understand what they were doing either. And good on Dale Jr. to give them the platform to tell their story. And there you go. So
there you go.
With that, James, how can people find you on social media if they want to chat with you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
James is on Baby Watch, so he's not on social media much. When he is on social media, he's usually blowing it up. So,
yeah, I had a couple of decent ones recently. Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at TSuperspeedway. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, links to all the show notes for today's show and previous shows, links to all the articles we discussed in the show, all kinds of past coverage, photos, interviews, et cetera, et cetera. You can check that out at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you listen today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen, continue to join us on this awesome ride we've been on for a couple years now. 168 shows now, which is just insane. I didn't think we'd ever get to that number. And if you want to help us out, help us continue doing it, and maybe put together another 168 of them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. The regular season wraps up this weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series at Daytona International Speedway. It's the Coke Zero 400. We will we already crowned the regular season champion. We'll find out who's going to be in the playoffs for 2020 and get things kicked off for the playoff season at Daytona. Yeah. There we go. With that, we'll be back next week to discuss it all. And until then, everybody, let's go racing.